Good morning con todos. Ulan-ulan kita, mga tiempo. So, taman adjust. Video, sorry. DXVP, hindi na medyo, no? Kaya lang gaha. It's a Monday morning, September 21, a rainy morning. I believe, according to Pag-asa, chani kita low pressure, LPA, posible typhoon Mars or Marse. Ulan-ulan, thanks be to God. Alegre mga sembrador, mga chani mga succulent and yung mga cactus, ang mga malingasa kay tanlata daw. So real lang sila, pero alegre ang mga sementerero, kainginero, ang mga tasyembra, especialmente akin na ISIS, mucho kami tasyembra. It's a feast day of Saint Matthew, the Apostle, tax collectors. No? Very beautiful reflection for the week, no? Accept the unconditional generosity for salvation. So maybe this is an invitation, a challenge for everyone to really accept the unconditional generosity of the Lord, whatever the circumstances, no? Whatever the circumstances in this pandemic, no? In this pandemic, we are into many kinds of situations: mental stress, emotional stress, anxiety, anxiousness, and mga trending about food, trending about mga siyembra, especialmente mga bajang, no? Grabe kayo el tiempo, no? What social media can really influence us, no? Every time sila mira picture di mga bajang, initially pili anak na may trato lang kayo, no? We still continue to respect and promote the protection of environment. My purpose only is to let everybody know na bajang is very ordinary and it grows abundantly in the mountain. It only shows na some people, especially in the city, are taking advantage of it, no? Taking advantage and making money of it. But simple lang gayon. We start from something little, maybe planting it, no? Planting it. Muncho kami anak aki. Tanggulok lang. So, pwede tayo sa kaki. Tala. Hindi tayo mucho ha. Pantubilok lang. Kay kansaw, pesaw, raka. No, tabla sila. But the beauty of Mother Nature, no? I believe this is in the whole context of Vocation Month, Catechetical Month, and the challenge of being missionaries of creation, according to Pope Francis. So, all of these are invitation to accept God's generosity. He's generous enough to give us the grace or graces to increase much about our mission, our being called to vocation, to really nurture being a priest, a consecrated person, a father, a mother, and even single blessedness. These are the vocation. Amo daw yan talk and the sister. And how our Catholic education, Catholic institution like ISIS, is trying to mold, nurture learners, no? In this pandemic, in this new normal, in this upgraded modalities of teaching students, no? Por eso aquel week I discuss much about empathy, no, related to emotional intelligence and a well-attuned child. And I ended last Thursday, last Friday, no, iyo kay emergency at yung occasion, no, confirmation, assist. But I ended last Thursday the cause of misattunement, no. Cosa ta sucede, what happens to a person, especially to a child, who is not attuned with the experience and feelings of others, not able to journey, no, not able to journey in this pandemic, no, not able to journey with the children's experiences. I'm very happy to see, no, parents like making the most of the camera kasi the feeling of Christmas siya. Countdown niya. Ang countdown niya al media. That's good diversion. But I believe na let's try to be more concrete, grounded, no, in certain realities that we are in, no. That's why emotional intelligence, why it can matter more than IQ, because the sense of self-awareness, the capacity to not only get into our very own self, but in the minds and well-beings del otro persona. So here I'd like to share to you about the neurology of empathy for today, no. You may ask, para po sa bakateste, it's exposition of the full context of the new normal of learning. Manata kayo at mga discussion about parenting, about online learning, homeschooling, about the different topics, subject matters, different modalities. But I believe we should not forget the very essence of the very being of the children, of the parents, guardians, and especially of the teachers who are facilitating the learning process of our children. It's very important to understand the neurology, no, and pattern, process. As is so often the case in neurology, reports of quirky and bizarre cases were among the early clues to the brain basis of empathy. Brain basis, ha? So, empathy, may sabi lang kita feeling, but in here, siya na relation na brain. A 1975 report, for instance, reviewed several cases in which patients with certain lesions in the right area of the frontal lobes had a serious deficit. They were unable to understand the emotional message in people's tone of voice, though they were perfectly able to understand their words. A sarcastic thanks, a grateful thanks, and an angry thanks all had the same neutral meaning for them. So no feelings at all, but the word thanks talaga. By contrast, a 1979 report spoke of patients with injuries in the other parts of the right hemisphere with a very different gap in their emotional perception. These patients were unable to express their own emotion through their tone of voice or by gesture. They know what they felt, but they simply could not convey it. All these cortical brain regions, the various authors noted, had strong connection to the limbic system. So, nakita kita ang computer, no? Limbic system. I'll research this later. These studies were reviewed as background to a seminal paper by Leslie Brothers, a psychiatrist at the California Institute of Technology, on the biology of empathy. So, biology of empathy. So, chain process, no? Science, essay, no? Chain procedure, chain step by step. So, it's good to really understand well. Reviewing both neurological finding and comparative study with animals, Brothers point to the amygdala and its connection to the association area of the visual cortex as part of the key brain circuitry underlying empathy. Much of the relevant neurological research is from work with animals, especially non-human primates, that such primates display empathy or emotional communication. Mas klaro yan, ha? Emotional communication as brothers, whether by words, action, or deeds, no? Emotional communication. Emotional communication, something like a smile, or encuentro cejas, rabiao, or dahil si kaso, no? Or anda pa detrás. So these are some examples, no? Then they learned to avoid the electric shock by pushing a lever whenever they heard. Next, pairs of these monkeys were put in separate cages, their only communication being through closed-circuit TV, which allowed them to see pictures of the face of the or other monkey. The first monkey, but not the second, then heard the dreaded tone sound. Okay. Having established that non-human primates do indeed read emotions from faces of their peers, researchers gently inserted long, fine-tipped electrodes into the brains of monkeys. These electrodes allowed the recording of activity in a single neuron. Electrodes tapping neurons in the visual cortex and in the amygdala showed that one monkey saw the face of another. That information led to a neuron firing first in the visual cortex, then in the amygdala. This pathway, of course, meaning step-by-step procedure, is the standard route of information that is emotionally arousing. So, proseso. But what is surprising about results from such studies is that they have also identified neurons in the visual cortex that seem to fire only in response to specific facial expressions or gestures, such as a threatening opening of the mouth, a fearful grimace, or a docile crouch. These neurons are distinct from others in the same region that recognize familiar faces. This would seem to mean that the brain is designed from the beginning to respond to a specific emotional expression, that is, empathy. Empathy is a given of biology. So taliyase, no, that's in human nature. Taliya na human nature, el pakilaya kita ta responde. Pakilaya kita, no, can react to a given situation, to a given expression. Another line of evidence for the key role of the amygdala cortical pathway is reading and responding to emotions. Brothers suggest is research in which monkeys in the wild had the connection to and from the amygdala and cortex covered. When they were released back to their troops, these monkeys were able to contend with ordinary tasks such as feeding themselves and climbing trees. But the unfortunate monkeys had lost all sense of how to respond emotionally to other monkeys in their band. Even when one made a friendly approach, they would run away and eventually live as isolates, shunning contact with their own troops. The very region of the cortex where the emotion-specific neurons concentrate are also those with the heaviest connection to the amygdala. Reading emotion involves the amygdala cortical circuitry, which has a key role in orchestrating the appropriate response. Similar physiological basis for empathy in us humans is suggested in research by Robert Levinson, a University of California at Berkeley psychologist who has studied married couples trying to guess what their partner is feeling during a heated discussion. This method is simple. The couple is videotaped and their physiological responses measured while talking over some troubling issues in their marriage, how to discipline the kids, spending habits, and the like. Each partner reviews the tape and narrates what he or she was feeling from moment to moment. Then the partner reviews the tape a second time, now trying to read the other's feeling. The most emphatic accuracy occurred in those husbands and wives whose own physiology tracked that of the spouse they were watching. That is, when their partners had an elevated sweat response, so did they when their partner had a drop in their heart rate. Their heart slowed. In short, their body mimicked the subtle, moment-to-moment physical reactions of their spouse. So I'm just reading it muna before expounding further, applying it at our natural situation at home and school and work. If the viewer's physiological patterns simply repeated their own during the original interaction, they were very poor in surmising what their partner was feeling. Only when their bodies were in sync was there empathy. This suggests that when the emotional brain is driving the body with a strong reaction, the heat of anger, say, there can be little or no empathy. Empathy requires enough calm and receptivity so that the subtle signals of feeling from another person can be received and mimicked by one's own emotional brain. So, empathy requires enough calm and receptivity so that the subtle signals of feeling from another person can be received and mimicked by one's own emotional brain. So we try to apply it in the school setting, no? Requires enough calm and receptivity with all the stresses of the online learning. May kuryente, difícil el internet, maalo el tiempo, el COVID pa, tiyan mga tan positive, ta enferma, o tan absent, uban na trabaho, tan pailangan, maridable. These are examples, but enough calm. That's why ISIS, every Friday, and sit down and mga teachers discuss, stay calm, like Friday. May ano yung meeting. Then meeting na kada subject area ng mga teachers, grade level. So taking time to be in the mountain, to share, to spend time with Mother Nature. Amo taming gaha na nakasa. That's the same. You being at home, taking time, calm down, pray together, eat together, do household chores, do some gardening together. It's one way to tansya. Bata ba mahilig na garden? Or sila bata ba sila green thumb? Hindi, green thumb. Ben manera. It's a trial and error, but at the same time, receptivity so that subtle signals of feeling from another person can be received. Manda kasi household chores na bata. Si kere ba o hindi? Or no gana? Tapos naman. Kasi manda tumari. Okay, sila, with you, may I listen how you read? I'll reading. So, empathy means kosagaha. The child needs mentoring, tutoring, or even just spending time with him. Just to inspire. It's important. I give you one example. Kalgane, bata, ang lapael auntie or nananabakel father. Ito lang cuidado ko na sa bata. She's very talkative. So I pay much attention to the child. She was talking, but I was not able to understand what she was talking. It's a 2-year-old child. And I immediately reacted. This child seemed to be too exposed on the internet, YouTube. She's young, but cannot understand dyslexia. So, receptivity to the subtle signals of feeling. Meaning, may kang gana uwi mang kwento na bata. Nakasa kasi nga. So, hindi korekta, kailangan na yung self-discipline, when it comes to doing things and correcting the mistakes. So, I spent time. I told her, dyslexia sa mga. So, you stop allowing her to see, Peppa Pig or whatever movies or show that does not teach competencies in reading or even speaking. On the other hand, for those parents who've been supportive to their students in making the performances, but please be careful, Apple mga candle, change property, please be careful of fire or any other things, I hope teachers will be reminded should be reminding, should remind the parents about careful supervision. So what I was really challenging is put that on YouTube, then share on Facebook, then share the link when submitting the performance task. So, Akel, subtle way, no, the feeling, and you allow children to watch them, no, to be early young bloggers, no. At least you're promoting good news, and at the same time, inculcating, no, kahit may copy sila, kasi you need a prompter for them to be spontaneous enough to talk, no. It's a good way to develop, no, creatively, no, according to Bloom's taxonomy, to create and evaluate and apply what they learn, English, science, math, no, all in one together and creatively, hopefully with some value formation, no, na hindi dapat pilitin ng mga parents ninyo na magbili o anong dapat. Make the most of it and be proud of it, no, that you are doing something good. So all of these are in the whole context of the roots of empathy, biology, no, nandun, no, it's embedded already in our whole being as a person, no, pakilaya. So si example Chene can express or manifest or verbalize, no, complaints, bashing. Subtle calmness, no, can help, no, requires enough calm and receptivity. Uwi, and then respond by assuring the person that you're paying attention. And this is what St. Matthew experienced in the gospel today in his feast. No, he responded, he followed. So, talya el biological response to the verbal calling. Na hindi lang alkelo hindi lang sa sigida, but concretely, St. Matthew fed the people because of the presence of the Lord in the banquet. Ang sinagaha kita, no? It's not about extravagance, but making people feel that they are wanted, that they are loved, embracing them, no, by mere being their ministry of presence, allowing oneself, no, to be there na mga persona na expressa, biya, consumi, and all others, no. Maybe this is one thing, in this new normal, si Chenya, like kagana ora-orada, we cannot do anything other than respond. Sister, Mambeng, pwede kayo atende ustedes aquí kasi it's an emergency. Thank you for responding. Pero habla, yes, subito BP, kasi sister, hindi already, but I believe stock knowledge, experience, just try to be more spontaneous. Try to be more natural. And I'm very grateful na they are able to do it. They are able to express themselves naturally. So, thank you. Thank you. So maybe there I would like to end, no, as a start of the week, no, Monday to Friday. Please stay tuned, no, kasi Sister Marian and the vocation promotion group, no, will air, no, if you, in Facebook and social media here and maybe na radio later, a pre-recorded video about vocation campaign. And I'm inviting you na this coming Sunday we will be having a outreach program together with the outreach of Direct Charlie Villanueva. So for those who would really like to help, we have the books. ASEC Amolo, they've shared some food packs. We are still looking for hygiene kit, no, face mask, face shield. No, we'll be donating to them kasi come classes, no, in the Buy Elementary School up in the mountain, the Sibulao. So I'm inviting you to, if you'd like to help, no, you may send it here in the school or Gcash in the school or through Direct Charlie na this Facebook. Diyan sila mga pages na pwede usahin sa ida. We are collaborating. We are not inviting many from the city kasi nga we're trying to avoid the transmission, but we are trying to share the mission, no, to those who are in need, no, in our own little way, So this is empathy. This is channeling the goodness of the Lord, an invitation made by God, and we are responding it by sharing also, giving time. I know it's a Sunday, but others will give their time to be with the people. So I'm really challenging those watching and those listening na kintauhin na DXPP Radio. Please, let's be more calm. Let's be more generous of spending our presence in those people who needs to be listened to. Si Cheneta na express, verbalize, maybe spend time. Nanay dayang responding. Nanay dayang daling answer. Hindi. Ano lang, uy. And this is what empathy is all about. The ministry of presence. Generously giving one's time for people who are in need. And for sure, God will bless you more. So, buenos dias con todo, mayong buntag, magandang umaga, assalamualaikum con todo. In Christ, through Mary, knowledge, power, and love for all. Good morning, God bless you all. And happy fiesta, San Mateo.